All right, we will open things up with Coach Spurrier with an opening statement.
Okay, it seems like I was telling Coach Andersen, I was just up here doing this 2 years ago, same time, same place, playing Wisconsin instead of Nebraska. But a lot of similarities. We got the same record as we had 2 years ago. We're shooting for 11 wins again and playing a real good team. Wisconsin is a team with tremendous tradition, especially lately. Been to, 3 straight Rose Bowls, Big Ten championships, and they're a team that's accustomed to winning. So we got to really play well. We really need to play well. Fortunately, we played well 2 years ago against Nebraska and came out a winner. But looking forward to seeing what happens. We're in pretty good health, although our starting fullback was just running down the field covering the kickoff yesterday and slipped, cut off the wrong foot, and cracked an ankle. So that was the only casualty, that just running down the field and made a bad cut, slipped, and so he's out for the game. But other than that, we're very healthy for this time of year and looking forward to the ball game.
All right, once again, we'll open it up for question and answer. If you could find someone with the microphone, we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay. No question.
Coach, the biggest advantage to having Connor Shaw on the field for this game against a team that's not familiar with him is that, do you think that you guys can capitalize on that? Him being a mobile quarterback, someone that makes something out of nothing?
Yeah, hopefully Connor's running ability will be important tomorrow. He is a very good runner, but he's a very good passer also. And we try to tell him to throw first a lot and then take off running. And lately he's done very good at that. And we have a few design runs for him. But a lot of his plays have been just pure scramble plays, nothing open, take off, make first down, and things like that. I guess the Big Ten, well, I know Ohio State has a quarterback that runs a bit. I'm not sure how much running quarterbacks they have up there, but Connor's certainly a big part of our team, big part of the offense, and he needs to have a good game tomorrow.
Edgar.
Yeah, Coach, the SEC is physical league, fast defenses. What do you see from Wisconsin in terms of its speed and physicality?
Yeah, they're a tough team. They're a tough team. We just got through watching some goal line defense from Wisconsin and other teams trying to run it in. And they have a very tough time running the ball in from the 1, 2, 3 yard line. So they make you earn just about everything you get. They really are a tough physical team, well coached, and they play real hard. There's no 1 or 2 guys taking a play off. They're just, and that's why they win so much. They win so much because they do all the little things right, and they got tradition that they play with tremendous effort.
Do you think the notion of SEC supremacy in bowl games and just kind of overall adds any juice to this game for either side?
I don't know. It could be, but I think both teams want to win just for themselves, their team, their university, their fans. That's who we want to win for. It's neat that when it's all said and done, the conference can brag if we won more than we lost, and so forth. But I would think most players and most teams, they want to win for themselves, their team first, and the conference is down the line on who we want to win for. That's down the line. I just think all players and most of the teams sort of have that mental attitude.
Hi, Coach. Over here. Right here. To your right. Here.
Yeah.
How you doing? What's been the biggest challenge for preparation to Wisconsin, and does Wisconsin remind you of any SEC team you've played in recent years?
No, not really. I don't think they remind us of anyone in particular. Almost every team's a little different in some way or another. But we prepare like we prepare for all of them, really. We try to follow similar format, a similar schedule, and just really try to make sure we're ready to play. We're ready to play tough and physical and take care of the ball, not goof off, know our assignments. I think most all coaches really try to gear in on the guys you have and try to give them a plan and hopefully go execute it.
Hi, Steve. You mentioned when you arrived here having the higher with the higher rank still being the underdog. How much have you mentioned that to the team with behind closed doors this week?
Not too much. We talked about it back in Columbia, I think, one day. We said, by the way, we are underdogs a little bit, but that's about it. We don't pay a whole lot of attention to that. Again, I really believe it'll be a game that who makes the most plays and maybe who makes them in the fourth quarter. It could very well shape up to one of those type of games. And maybe who makes a field goal or not. Who knows?
Coach, this is such a unique bowl experience with the things that they do off the field. Is there an advantage that you've just gone through this a couple of years ago, and could that advantage play where you played on that Connor Shaw, Bruce Ellington, Jadeveon Clowney have played on that same field? Is there any advantage to familiarity?
I don't know how much advantage. We only played one game on the artificial grass, and I think Wisconsin plays a bunch of them on it. But again, we played our best game of the year at Arkansas. Best offensive game anyway. I think we punted once and somehow scored 52 points. So we haven't talked much about the surface or anything like that. But again, I just think we got to go play the game, and the players will make the plays. Hopefully, as coaches, we can have the right play on at the right time and go from there.
Steve, now that you're down 2 fullbacks, who will start there, and does it affect how you are able to line up formation-wise, the formation?
No, we'll still have 2 backs in there some. Garrison Gist, a walk-on kid, is now the starting fullback. Brandon Wiles could play some in there also. But Gist, he's our man right now. We're trying to straighten him out this morning. We were watching tape of yesterday's practice. He was going the wrong way a couple of times, but I think he played about 3 plays against Coastal, and that's about all he's played all year. But he'll be the starter tomorrow. Now, I think he's okay in there in the 2-back stuff. Yeah.
Coach, when you go ahead and face a school like Michigan and Nebraska, how much pleasure do you get out of beating a school like that, and what do you think it does to enhance the exposure of South Carolina when you beat an all-time winning programs like that?
Yeah, it was neat. It was neat to beat both those schools, and it would be neat if we're able to beat Wisconsin. I remember 2 years ago at the luncheon here, we're going to have in a few minutes, for some reason, Nebraska parked their equipment van right outside the convention center here, and they had listed all their conference championships. I think there was 42 of them, and they listed the years of their national championships, and there were 7 of those. And I told our guys we're only 48 behind those guys right now in conference and national championships. So it was neat to beat Nebraska. And then last year, Michigan's the all-time winningest football program in the nation. They still are, and even though they've struggled a little bit, I guess, last year or so. So it's neat to beat a team like that. And here's Wisconsin. They've been to Rose Bowl the last 3 years. It would be neat if we're able to do it.
Any other questions for Coach Spurrier?
This is a little off topic. Any thoughts on the Gators hiring a Duke guy to call plays for them next season?
Yeah, I told Bianchi or somebody they hired one about 23 years ago, the Duke offensive coordinator. So they know where to go for a football school. They're finally figuring that out, I think. You got to go to Duke to get football coaches.
Do you know anything about Roper?
I do not know him that well. Some of our assistant coaches know him pretty well, say he's a wonderful guy and a very good coach. Okay.
Coach, talk about the Clowney and Kelsey Quarles, your defensive guys. Probably last game at Carolina.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, Jadeveon has done very well. in practice for the bowl games. I think he's 100% healthy. Little foot problems, whatever, are gone. He needs help with his driving. His foot gets a little heavy down there at times, I guess, so hopefully he'll get that straightened out. But he's practiced well, and he's been a very good teammate for 3 years. We were all wondering if he's got a limo to take him out of the ballpark tomorrow or not, but we were kidding him about all the autograph people are around there, and wait till after the game, and then he can start charging for his autograph, so if he waits a little while. But yeah, he'll be an instant pro when the game's over, but he's looking forward to it, and we wish him the best. It was also interesting, our defensive line coach, Deke Adams, our line coach from South Carolina, went to Florida last year, and we hired Coach Adams, who was at University of North Carolina at the time. Some of our defensive coaches had known him, recommended him, and he's done a super job. To think that we had 2 defensive linemen actually make first team All-American. I think Clowney made the coaches poll, and Kelsey Quarles made the AP or Sports Writers poll. So Deke Adams, I'd say he had a pretty good year coaching as a D-line coach.
Coach, I want to take us a few years back in time, and what I mean by that is I remember when I was covering the Tampa Bay Bandits of the United States Football League. I think you remember that pretty well. That was early in your coaching career. How much of those offensive ideas have you had that you had then carried throughout your coaching career, and how many of those have you really tried to implement as you went along?
Yeah, a lot of them are still used, and then, of course, we've added different stuff and so forth. Of course, we've added more shotgun stuff now. Nobody did much shotgun at all back in the 80s, mid-80s and so forth, or even the early 90s. I think we didn't go to the shotgun until Nebraska clobbered us in that 95 national championship game, and then we went to the shotgun the next year a little bit, and Danny Warfel, of course, was very good in that. And most all colleges are shotgunning all the time now, so that's a big change probably right there. But a lot of our patterns, pass patterns and runs are very similar.
As Steve Jr. said yesterday that he would be interested in the Duke OC job. Do you think, would you recommend him for that position, and do you think he's ready to take over an offense in its entirety?
I think all assistant coaches have got to always be flexible and be open-minded and so forth, and try to make good decisions. But it's also, I'm reminded by our assistant coaches, we've hired guys that their staff all got fired the next year and this, that, and the other. It's pretty neat when you can be a place 7 or 8 years and the head coach doesn't get fired. That doesn't happen all over the place. So there's something nice about being in the same town and your kids go to the same schools for 6, 8, 10 years in a row if you can do that. But again, if a coach wants to be a head coach, maybe the next step is coordinator and then go from there. So there's good times to move in coaching, and other times maybe if you got a good job, hang on to it for quite a while.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Is Will Sport available with the ankle?
Yeah, his ankle's better. He'll be out there on extra point field goal protection. Hopefully.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Thanks,
See you
Coach.
tomorrow.
Once again, if